Welcome to Wils Bach's Song Pod, a show where we dig deep into the songs and artists that move us and how we're moved to craft the songs we write. I'm Tim Wils Bach, and I write, release, and perform music as Wils Bach, and you can find me anywhere you stream music. Let's dig in. My guest today is an award-winning songwriter and recipient of the Lionel Richie Songwriting Scholarship, a finalist in the Song of the Year. She was also named Top 10 Artist by the Denver Daily News. She sang and played keyboard in a backup band on the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, performed for a live Old Spice campaign, and has songs featured in shows like Real World, Road Rules, among others. As a session singer, her voice can be heard on national commercials, the movie Hot Tub Time Machine 2, and multiple episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and The League. An activist as well as a musician, Abella created the first women in music organization in Colorado in the early 2000s, uniting and bringing visibility to the hardworking female artists in the area. She currently performs live, hosts the weekly open mic revival at the iconic Cinema Bar in Culver City, as well as When Girls Play at Old Fields, also in Culver City. In January of this year, she released a single, Beautiful Things, topping off her 3-album discography, 2012's In Another Life, 2007's Nice Girl, and 2002's What Happened to the Girls. All of those are available wherever you stream. Please welcome to Wils Bach's Song Pod, Mary Beth Abella. How are you?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for coming on.
Good. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
your first female guest, right?
Yes, yeah. I've had conversations with a handful of other songwriter friends who are girls, but the scheduling hasn't worked out yet. So
yeah,
glad to finally have you. So I noticed that we have the tertiaryest of connections. So I'm a television editor by day when Hollywood is working, actually. This is kind of why I launched this podcast, because Hollywood is dead at the moment and I have not much to do during my days. So, but anyway, I cut the second season of Welcome to Wrexham and a little bit on the third season. And, obviously Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's
So
cool.
where did that connection? How did you end up doing that kind of thing?
Yeah, I have a really good friend who was the music editor on that show, and I helped him out a little bit on some coordinating, basically, putting the music, registering it through the ASCAP and BMI and stuff like that from the show. So making cue sheets and stuff. And then he called me and my ex at the time and said, we have an episode. And now it's like, it feels like I can't be proud of this, but we have an episode with P. Diddy on the show where he's going to play bass.
Yeah.
And we need some people to be his backup band. Do you want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah. So yeah, we got to be on the show. It was just, I don't know, like 30 seconds to a minute or something. But yeah, you can see me on the episode with Charlie's Mom Gets Cancer, I think it is.
Right.
What it's called. Yeah. So it was really fun. It was really fun.
Oh, that's such a fun show. I watched that for several seasons. I kind of fell off at a certain point, and but every now and then we'll throw it on at at 11 and we'll basically fall asleep to it. Because I can't keep my eyes open. Once I turn something on, I'm like, I'm out. I don't even know why I tried. But,
it's one of those good staples, right? There's like so many episods to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a really funny show. Yeah. I'm from Philly originally, so I was like, oh yeah, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like that's, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's not Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Right. Yes. So there's a Denver connection too. So you grew up in Philly and then you spent some time in Denver, it sounds like.
Yeah, I spent a long time in Denver. I was there a lot longer than I wanted to be. So I really tried to make it into a really fun, thing for myself. And I actually learned a lot there because that's when I really started performing and playing a lot and doing a lot of organizing. I've always been sort of a, real social justice oriented kind of person who wanted to save the world. So I started doing a lot of things in college and protesting and stuff, and then working in the music industry there with mostly just live performances. I noticed that there were so many women that weren't really, I guess, getting the attention they deserved or knowledge, especially when you're starting out and you kind of rely on a lot of the men in the scene for information, equipment, just it's for players, everything. So it was an attempt to kind of educate us more on things that we need to know when we're playing music live.
Have you brought that activism to your songwriting at all?
I think it was there early on, like when I first started writing and recording. And then as I've gone, I was thinking about how, as I was watching like your other podcasts with people I know, like David Brookings and Giovanni Blanco, and thinking about how they were talking about how they write or what inspired them. And I was thinking about how now, like, I feel like I write songs for revenge more than for activism.
Okay.
Not really, but my brother has a saying that, like, watch out, Mary Beth's gonna write a song about you. So I feel like it's much more, I mean, it was always personal experience, but I think there was that definite sort of angry element early.
That kind of tracks for I'm assuming that you kind of started in your 20s, early 20s.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
I mean, we're kind of figuring
late
it out.
Teens, early 20s. Yeah.
Kind of raging against the machine and the norms and all that, and wondering why the fuck we're not on the radio. Come on. Or other things. Why are there no fucking girls organizing things? What the hell?
Yeah.
So, that's an easy emotion to access. And it's when you're kind of first honing your craft, that's a good way to dial it in.
And I think I was, I mean, when I was in college, we were really, seeing and learning about a lot of things in the world. And I was a women's studies major, and we were learning about, a lot of violence against women and just the conditions of women across the world. And it just kind of made me angry, made me want to burn things to the ground, and I have definitely, since I've gotten older, kind of really softened a lot. And I still do a lot of activism, and I still am really, trying to create community here in LA. You mentioned the Open Mic Revival and the When Girls Play Women's Showcase, but it's more sort of like, let's get together and have community versus let's go burn things down.
Right. Your sound, just listening to that, you would think maybe, you're strapping on a guitar and you're getting really loud and angry, but you're kind of in the, alternative pop rock kind of vibe, AAA radio, that kind of thing.
Right.
I'm like listening through your discography. It sounds great. That new single, Beautiful Thing, sounds amazing.
Thank you.
So that's your most recent single. Yeah.
It was a song I recorded a while ago, wrote and recorded a while ago. And I have a lot of these songs that I recorded with different people that I just never released. And that was one that I have listened to a lot. And I was like, this is a good song. Like, why don't and I play it all the time live. So why don't I release it? So basically I just was like, there's no reason not to. Let me just do it.
Yeah. It's got a really great, the mood for, like, when listening is a little nostalgic, a little hopeful. It's kind of got that 90s feel. Which is anybody that knows my music, that's right in my wheelhouse. I'm like, I feel like maybe you and I are still kind of pining for those, those older melodic
that
days.
Music melodic. There you go. There you go.
And I can see that. I know you've had a bunch of placements. I can completely hear that. If they still made rom-coms, that would be a great spot for it. But I guess maybe they're coming back with them every now and then. But I can definitely see this in an indie movie.
Don't forget how to fly. Don't forget we have wings. Don't forget who we are. Don't forget all of the beautiful things. All the beautiful things. All the beautiful things. All the beautiful things.
so there was a big break. So 2012 was your last full length before this came out. So that's a big gap.
Yes, I went through a really bad breakup. So Beautiful Things is one of the things. So I went through a really bad breakup in 2017, but it was sort of, we were recording other songs to be released, and like Beautiful Things and some other ones, and I was writing and recording a ton, and even have been writing and recording songs that I have been kind of going back on. I've done 3 recordings of one song that I was ready to release and just have not been happy with it. And I think because of the breakup and then COVID, it's just been really just tough, just trying to get the sort of the oomph, the gumption to get back out there, release music, do all the things that I was doing, on a pretty good sort of, running ahead kind of basis, until COVID happened. Yeah.
Gotcha. So do you have a batch of songs that you're working on towards a new record? Or I would imagine you've kept writing that whole time. You're just not putting stuff out.
I mean, to be honest, I'm a very emotional person, and I go through waves of sort of like despair in my songwriting, and Beautiful Things and sort of my upbeat songs are almost attempts to cheer myself up.
Yeah.
And, be more hopeful and happy. And sometimes I am, for sure. But I think that it was a real battle to start writing after my breakup in 2017. And then I was sort of, every time I picked up my guitar, I would just start crying. So I would sort of write songs but not finish them or not record them or whatever, until a friend told me, you have to keep writing through the tears, and people need to hear that stuff too.
Yeah.
So even though I was like, not another breakup album, that was my that was one of my other albums. So just like sort of trying not to judge it is the only way that I can write, because if I'm sort of like thinking like, oh, people don't want to hear this like weepy stuff, that will keep me from it. And it did keep me from it for a long time, where I would just like try and just get so overwhelmed that I would put it down. And so I really had to push through that and then start writing again and recording again. But I haven't been doing it with the same consistency as I did before, that's for sure.
Yeah, I've run into the same kind of thing that you mentioned, where the editor takes over in my brain before the creative person can get it on the page or record the first take into, Logic or voice notes or whatever.
Right.
And I have to fight through that a lot. Like, just get it out, let it suck. If it's gonna suck, that's fine. Get it out there. There's gonna be some shiny nuggets here. You're gonna shake the pan, and the dirt's gonna fall away, and you pick out those shiny nuggets and you stitch them together, and you build from there. But it's hard. It's hard to work through that. And same kind of thing, like, finding the upbeat songs. It's easier to me to write the sad bastard songs, right? Because that's it's an easier accessible emotion sometimes, at least for a person like me. So I'm with you. It's you have to kind of convince yourself to write those songs sometimes.
I think all of it. I mean, I think that you're right. Like, there's this like critic. We probably all have that. Like, and when you've written a lot of songs or released, some stuff, you're like, oh, am I ever going to write a song that good again? Am I ever,
Yeah, sure.
Is there another one in there, or do I have anything left to say?
Right.
That's another fear.
Or I'll hear an amazing song. I'm a big fan of like Dawes or Jason Isbell, and I'll hear a song that they've written. And I'm like, that's the most simple emotion, and I completely relate to that. And I could never write that simple of a lyric. And I'm not sure. I think I'm done. I'm done writing songs. It's been a good run. See ya. See, I'm gonna find something else. I may have to take up golf a little more or something. I don't know.
Well, there's no one with a voice like yours, right? Like, everyone has such a unique perspective on everything. And I think even if we're writing about the same things, we have such a different take on it. And, I'm not even, I think I would be a lot more popular if I was able to, write songs about the universal human experience, right? But
Yeah.
I really focus on what is true for me and really honest. And as you can tell by even the way that I'm talking, I'm extremely vulnerable and honest and say things, even in my songs, that I could never say, to another person or out loud.
Right.
It has to be in a song.
Yeah.
And that's what makes every song really unique, when you put your heart into it.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's really the stuff that ultimately connects with the audience too, and why people listen to your song, for a second and a third and a fourth time
Yeah.
and save it and share it with their friends and all that. If people have
Yeah.
a really good, I think, bullshit detector, right? Like they
Yeah.
know if it's contrived, they know if
Right.
it's real. And
Right.
if they get a whiff of that, and they're like, don't really love
Yeah.
this. I
Yeah.
can, I'm not looking for the saccharine stuff from you. I want it
Right.
from, the pop
Yeah.
stars that are 17 and
Yeah.
18. They do that thing
Right.
really well.
Yes.
I listen to you for a whole other reason, and
Yeah.
it's not to
Yeah.
be that person. So,
Yes.
but
Exactly.
I don't know if you're like
Mhm.
me. Do you find that you have to convince yourself of that sometimes, that your voice
Yeah.
is unique
Yes.
enough to, yeah,
Totally. Well, what I question more is it too unique,
yeah,
Can enough people relate? And then I have to fight back on that because that's a question not even worth asking. It's not even, I mean, it doesn't matter what the answer is
right,
because when you do it, you just have to do it, There's
yeah,
no, like, you can't get in your own way because it makes you so unhappy to not do it that why
right,
fight it? Just do it. And who cares? Like, who cares who loves it or who doesn't love it? It's, that's not why we do it anyway. If you do
right,
it because you want people to like something, my brother says the definition of a hack is somebody who's questions themselves. So I think that that's true because you can't be authentic, if you're questioning yourself or wondering if you should change this because more people will like it. I
uh-huh,
mean, that's great. I've written songs sound alikes for film and television too. And that's great to try to capture what the person wants for a particular scene. But I think when you're, as a songwriter releasing something, like,
right,
you have to believe it. And even those people that are doing a lot of pop music that's very formulaic, like, they really believe it.
right.
That's what they believe in. They're not like trying to do something, that everybody will love. It's like they're into it.
It goes back to, yeah, just be authentic, and
Yeah,
that's what connects. So
hopefully.
yeah, right, yeah, hopefully is always that's always there. Like, yeah, please, someone like this. So listening through to your stuff, I was struck by you are really kind of a master at really kind of capturing a mood. Just
Oh, thanks.
I don't feel like I have quite the mastery of creating the mood that you do. So is that
Mm.
something when you sit down to write a song, do you have that in mind, or is that just kind of come out? Like
Mm.
how do you approach what's your way in? How do you start writing a song?
Usually I just pick up my guitar, and I think the reason why I'm still not an amazing guitar player after all these years is because I just start writing and I can't really practice. So I just start fooling around with chords that I like or melodies that I like, and then I'll just start writing. But I don't really think about mood and stuff. I think more about just following where my head is at, where my heart is at in the moment. Sometimes I have ideas, like I'm driving around, or how you drive around and record voice memos, or like
Mm-hmm.
me, I'll wake up in the middle of the night with an idea, or early in the morning or something, and I'm reaching for my phone and I'm all groggy trying to sing something. But sometimes I'll get ideas like different themes. But I mean, when I say like revenge songwriting, I'm not lying in a way, because I think a lot about a lot of experiences that I have, like, that they won't leave me, and I need to get them out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when I sit down, like, a lot of that stuff is on my mind, or I'll think about, I need to write a song about that fucker. Like, just like, you know, like either their perspective or my perspective. And I think that maybe the mood you're sensing is like a lot of pain. Like, I've been through a lot of pain is what I gotta say. Like,
Yeah.
it's like deep, and then I just kind of just throw it on the wall, like,
Yeah.
look at it, you know,
Yeah.
or times of joy. Like, I've also, experienced a lot of joy, and I want to capture that, or I want to capture hope, or
Yeah.
it's not, but I'm not like thinking that way. I'm just thinking of like a moment in time, or it's usually a moment where I'm feeling something. And I just want to
Gotcha.
express sort of, God, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened to make me feel that way? Either good or bad.
Okay. And then so you have kind of that raw material, and then you're crafting that into, because you're also
Yeah.
very good at writing a hook. So, I mean,
Oh,
there's
that's so
gotta
great
be.
to hear.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely craft in that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not just coming out. Like, you've got to kind of, massage that and work that into something, that people
Yeah.
want to sing along with.
I think that's awesome, because I like hooky songs and I like to write hooky songs, and I just am influenced by a lot of hooky music. So I think I write that way. A lot of music now, like, I host a lot of young songwriters at this When Girls Play. They're amazing. They're all so amazing. Their melodies are so different from mine. They're way more sort of, well, they're very creative, very meandering, very like lovely and soulful. And just, I don't write that way. Like, I write like, I guess it's kind of like straightforward,
Hmm.
like, you know, this is the hook, this is the
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
this is like the centerpiece, and then the other stuff is kind of leading up to it, or whatever. But I also admire that other way. I played with a musicologist when I was in Denver. She was getting her PhD, and she was talking about how men and women, or there's like a female style of writing, a
Okay.
feminine style of writing, and a masculine style of writing. And it's actually not gender specific, but more like masculine and feminine. And she said
Okay.
that sort of like a masculine style of writing is more hooky, is more like the Beatles. It's very melodically straightforward, and that like a feminine style of writing is more circular, meandering, like not as straightforward. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that is interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said there's a lot of women that write, in sort of that style, that masculine straight ahead style. And then there's a lot of men who write in that sort
Yeah.
of not, sort of circular kind of style. And so I think that's really interesting.
That
So
is. It's very interesting. Yeah.
so I guess I write like a man. I don't know.
That's really interesting. So you mentioned listening to a lot of the players at the open stages that you host,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've heard some amazing people, and I'm sure
Yes.
you've heard
Yeah.
some not amazing people. But
Yes.
through all of it, I wonder if what that's done for your songwriting.
Hmm.
Is it almost a study for you at a certain point, or do you see common mistakes that people make that you can learn from, or do you see stuff that works a lot that you pull from, or you're just kind of.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I ever like think about common mistakes, except for one thing I've noticed is that people like to sing the chorus a lot at the end. which I do too. Which I
Yeah.
do too. So that kind of strikes me, and I kind of laugh about that. But like, maybe that was too many choruses at the end. I don't know.
Probably
But
guilty of that.
you're right. But I think I have mostly, I think I just appreciate, and I know that I can't do, like, there's certain things that it's not me. There's so many women at this when girls play a showcase that I do, and it's curated. We choose 3 artists a week to do it. First of all, I've discovered that there are so many talented women artists in LA. It's insane. And they're very young and just brilliant, some really brilliant songwriters and performers and instrumentalists. And I think that mostly it just gives me an appreciation, because I don't think that I sort of listen to it and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. That's so amazing. But I can't write like that. That's not the way that I write, So it's mostly just like really appreciating how different styles people have and what people do when they write.
That's the other thing to me that social media has done to a degree, is it's just opened up this world, and you get to peek in and see all the people across the country and the world, and how much just really good to great songwriting and artists there are. And that can also be a little daunting. It's like, what am I doing? There's so much that's good. I mean, you come across some crap too, but a lot of it is really good. So it's that can be another reason where I'm like, oh, well, the guitar's gonna stay on the wall today.
Right. I mean, you have to say, like, first of all, we can never compare ourselves, right? Like, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing you can do for someone as sensitive as most of us are.
I tell myself that all the time, but it never works. I could write it on a plaque, and it's not sunk in yet, I should say.
Right.
Maybe
tattoo
it will someday.
It on your forehead, tattoo it on your hand.
Yeah.
A few years back, so you mentioned that I did the Lionel Richie Songwriting Scholarship. That was at UCLA Extension. I had no idea that I was going to win. And of course, like, all my self-doubt when it happened, I was like, maybe I was the only one who submitted. That's why I won. Like that was my thinking. Maybe I was the only entry that year. But I had a great, I took songwriting classes there. I called this one teacher after my breakup because I was like, I got to reinvent myself. I got to, like, do something totally new and different. Oh my God. Like, I was just struggling so much because, like, musically, I cannot separate my music from whatever's going on in my life. Like, I just can't, like, okay, I'm going to put aside this, like, major crisis and, like, sit down and write some music. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all so connected. And here I was like, I have to start fresh as a new person. That means I have to start fresh as a musician, So I called him up and I said, I need to write like, whatever's going on right now. I need to be as inspired and as current and as, hip and everything. And he said, Mary Beth, you can only be yourself. And the people that are doing it, just like you were saying earlier, like, the people that are doing it, they're really great at that. You need to just do what you do and not worry about anybody else. Like, you just need to be yourself and just do that.
Yeah.
Because you can't be anybody else and they can't be you. And it's not going to work, you trying to be like them. And I was like, bummer, but okay. Like, you're not helping me. It's just like, totally embracing who you are, even if you're like, only 5 people like it. Oh, well, that's 5 people. That's cool. Versus like, we all want like millions and millions of people to love us, love our music and share it with the world.
I wouldn't hate that. Sure. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I got to just, dig in even more into what I'm doing in order to feel like I'm doing something. There's no other option, than to just dig in 100% to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And be even more yourself, not like anybody else, but even be more yourself and more you and more unique. And, like, that's what's needed in the world. Not like all this. There's so much music that just sounds exactly alike.
Right.
There's so many singers who sound exactly alike, who have like no real soul in their voice, like there's no
identity, kind of, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're really good. They're technically amazing. They've got, amazing voices, beautiful voices, but there's no that quality of like
right.
real emotion. Like, have you ever experienced anything in your life?
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
like where's the blues? Where's the heart in your voice?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
have you suffered?
I want to hear your pain now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
That color, you know, that color, that tone.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the fuel. But again, you know, you need the craft, and you need, you know, what you have done, and I've done, and other folks have done, and learned how to take those experiences, those real life experiences, and craft those into lyrics, and put it with the right melody and the right set of chords, and eventually the right production that's going to convey that emotion in the right way. And there, you know, there's certainly a trick to that. It's not easy to do, you know, as much as you, even like we're talking about the simple pop songs, like even those, you know, writing a pop song.
There's 40 people writing those songs.
Right. Even a song that gets, you know, 50 million, you know, spins on Spotify in 6 months.
Yeah.
It might sound like the simplest thing you've ever heard in your life, but it's not easy to write that simply and convey. It's a very targeted, you know, message that connects with 50 million people in 6 months or whatever it is.
Right.
It's real easy to say, but hard to do.
It's 40 over 40 white guys writing one song together somehow.
And I think most of them are Swedish. Is that what it is? The Swedes?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah. So listening through to your, I listened to from an what's it called? From in another life.
Yeah.
I was listening through to that one, and I enjoyed what I was listening to, but I really kind of perked up when I got to If Anything. I'm sorry,
yeah.
If anyone.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the right title?
If anyone, yeah. I was like, wait a second, do I have a song called?
I just misread the note that I had written, but I kind of perked up. So. And maybe, I don't know, I heard a lot of Amy Mann in there, and some John Bryan-ish kind of production. Am I hearing that? Is that?
Yeah, that's interesting, because a lot of people have told me, not necessarily production, but my songwriting style is a lot like Amy Mann.
Yeah,
for sure.
The melody on that one specifically, was very, I was like, oh, okay. And not in a bad way. I mean, you know, it's a good, I enjoyed the song.
Yeah, I love her. I never really like studied her music or anything. So I think it's interesting. And when I listen back to her, I'm like, that is true. We kind of do write like sort of similarly.
Yeah.
Sun is always shining, the palm trees always sing, but every day you burn, and the wind makes your ears ring. Find a way to embrace the city, where all they care about is if you're pretty. If anyone deserves to be happy, it's you. If anyone can figure it out, if anyone can make it all better, if anyone deserves to be happy, it's you.
I dug that one a lot. The timpani, I don't know if that's marimba or xylophone or glockenspiel or something. But I'm sure that one started as you know, your vocal and an acoustic.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So you
well,
remember
actually,
how where that
piano.
one came from? Or okay.
Piano. Yeah, piano. Yes, I had a young Japanese friend whom I actually met through. I'm a Buddhist, and I met her through my Buddhist community, and she was going through. She was just she's still alive. I'm saying she was, as though she's dead. She's very much alive and very, very happy. But at the time, and she was so inspiring to me because she has so much compassion, which is, of course, like what we're striving for in our community, is to have compassion. And she really she was much younger than me, but she taught me so much. Like she would just like send notes to people, letters to people, you know, and a day when we don't mail anything to anyone. That's what she was doing. She's like writing letters, writing notes to drop off at people's houses, like just so much, like reaching out to people.
Yeah.
How are you? Letting them know that they were cared about. Just such this incredible spirit. And she really wanted to stay in LA. She was fighting hard to stay in LA. She was from Japan. And she was having so many challenges. Like, she was getting harassed at her workplace. Her roommate kicked her out. Just like everything was falling apart. And as a result, she, her boyfriend was living in another state. And she was gonna leave LA and go live with him, and they were gonna get married, for her green card. Well, it ended up that he was he was seeing someone else that whole time. They were living long distance, and just her life was just such a mess. She was staying with me. She had no place to stay. Her boyfriend broke up with her. She lost her job. I mean, just everything at once.
Piling on.
And just the sweetest person. And she was just, really, really, using her spiritual practice her Buddhist practice to overcome all this stuff. And I just was so encouraged by her, because it's not like, she didn't like the weather. She's allergic to the sun. She's like, I mean, just all these things stacked up against her. And so I wrote that song for her, and, kind of just this beautiful spirit, and just like, you deserve to be happy,
And talk about a universal message. There you go.
So okay.
People can grab onto, right? Yeah. People
being allergic to the sun.
Well,
and
yeah. The deserving to be happy part more than the allergic to the sun. But yeah.
Yes.
So Leave Me Behind. Tell me about that
Leave
one.
You Behind. Leave
You Behind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My notes are terrible. I have terrible.
I originally obviously wrote that a long time ago because it's on my first album. My brother and I co-wrote that song together. We were listening to a lot of Jeff Buckley at the time. And I was like, yeah, like that. This Is the Last Goodbye song. And it kind of reminded me of that. And I said, sure, this is a really great emotional song. And so I wrote it. The funny thing is that he says that I got the chords wrong. But it is the most popular song that I have. And when I played it around Denver, people would love it. And they knew like every song of my brother's solo on that song. My brother produced it. And then when I left Denver, my husband at the time, we were touring around in an RV. We sold everything we owned and went on tour. I was playing solo all over the United States. And we were living on an RV for like 6 months. And we stopped in LA in Venice. And my brother was playing like at an art show. And he asked me to come up and play that song with him. And I did. And there was a music supervisor in the audience who said, hey, can I use your stuff, for the Real World Road Rules? And I was like, yeah, wow, that's awesome. And so I was like, I think we should move to LA. And I'm going to be a star.
Yeah. The quintessential LA experience. Yeah, that's totally how it goes.
Totally. But, I also got some advice from a friend from LA I met in Denver, who was on tour, who borrowed my PA. And he said, if you're going to eat shit like you do in the music industry, might as well do it on the beach or near the beach. And I was like, good plan. So that's another reason why I moved here. But yeah, I mean, really playing that song with my brother sort of like was magical, to come to LA where dreams are made and be able to play in front of an audience and get a song placed, and we're by the beach, and it's just like, are you kidding me? I want to live here all the time.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's kind of what happened with that song. It was that song.
Yeah, that's a great origin story. So you mentioned your brother a couple times. Playing with him got the music supervisor's attention, and that was your first placement. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you built a relationship with her.
Those placements that I got and were really through friends, like knowing people and knowing music supervisors or people who are placing music, which is really really how you do it.
It's funny you mentioned too that you said you got the chords wrong. The record that I released in 2019, it was a weird way to produce it. Like I wrote all the songs here. Actually, I guess I wrote half of the songs long ago when I lived in Indianapolis, and then the other half after I moved to LA, which is why it's called Indianapolis, which is the hardest name to Google ever.
Oh.
So bad idea. But anyway,
Indianapolis. No,
See, exactly.
India.
So it's Indianapolis and Los Angeles.
Right.
Indianapolis, but it's
Indianapolis.
Clever
I got it.
Indianapolis. But nobody can remember it, much less spell it. So it's a terrible name for an album.
But people don't need to say it. I mean, what album names do you say out loud?
Yeah,
really?
That's true. That's a good point. But anyway, so I had this batch of songs, and I had my old guitar player from a previous band, and a drummer still lived in Indianapolis, and I sent them all the tracks. And they basically re-recorded everything, and I flew out there for a weekend and did the vocals. Cool. Anyway, this is super long-winded way to say when we finished the record, and there's a song called Build It Up, and when I was going to play a show here in LA with a brand new group of players, and I sent them the tracks, first time we got together, I'm playing it the way that I had written it. Yeah. And we got through the song, and they're like, wait, hold on, this is all wrong. So I go back and listen, and a couple of the chords were different. He basically had substituted a chord here and there, and I'm like, oh well, I guess
took a little liberty in the production there.
Yeah, basically. It just reminded me of that. I thought it was funny. Now every time I play that, I'm like,
did he get a songwriter credit?
He probably did. Yeah, I probably did. Yeah. Okay. So
is that why you moved to LA to be in the entertainment and music?
So no, I moved to LA for the entertainment industry, yes, but I didn't move here till I was 37. I married, had a 2-year-old. I had had basically kind of put music away at that point, and I had a big long 10-year break. But no, my main thing is I'm a TV editor. I'm typically the one that takes a song and puts it in a scene. I get the batch from the music supervisor, so I'm not picking them out necessarily. Right. But yeah. So no, but so similar.
You're a good person to know. You're a good person to know, everyone.
Yeah. Definitely. But just know that your songs are going to be second in line to all of my songs. I'm like,
right, of course,
put mine in first.
You know what? But that's typical with everybody working in the business.
That's how Hollywood is. Yep, absolutely. Me first, and then if there's room for you, maybe.
That's right. That's
probably not. Yeah. Right. Similar. I had a buddy that I had worked together with Indianapolis in the TV business, and he came out here and started doing stuff. And he said, "Hey, you should come out and cut this show with me." This was February of 2009, February, something like that. So I flew out for 3 months, and I lived here.
Nice.
In the winter.
And you were like, "This is awesome."
I know. I was cutting on the Universal lot. I'm like. Wow. Looking around going, why the fuck do I still live in the Midwest?
Right.
This is amazing. I'm making more than I make in Indianapolis. I'm working in this cool environment. Yeah, I got home and I talked to my wife. She's like, yeah, let's go. So we packed up.
Nice.
Moved to Los Angeles, and it's been going so well until this year when the bottom dropped out of Hollywood. So
oh my God.
Hopefully it comes back. I'm sure it will. But
yes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to talk about you
playing music.
Yeah, I know, right? But I want to keep talking about you some more. So, listening to "Nice Girl," the other one that I for whatever reason jumped out to me was "Hey Pal."
Yeah, "Hey Pal" was a song that I wrote on the RV when we were still living on it. Even after we came to LA, we're still living in down in Dockweiler. Do you know Dockweiler on the beach there? Yeah. And we would go up and down the coast, and my life was very transient at the time, and so just kind of thinking about having a warm place and a safe place and a stable place, and, noticing the homeless, thinking about that too. And sort of this feeling of sort of hey, somebody welcoming you in and letting you sort of be warm and be safe and be in love,
It's got a little bit of a swagger to it too,
Mm.
though. I felt like kind of
Yeah.
swagger, but also a little aloof. It's, kind of a little mystique to it.
I mean, I didn't have anything to lose anywhere. I was living on the road, so I just kind of wrote from where I was at, which was, fuck, everything is fine, and I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Basically, that was my attitude at the time.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to sort of marry those elements of, and I think my brother did a good job of marrying those elements of, acoustic and, what was, happening at the time with sort of this like hip hop kind of electronic kind of element, marrying like acoustic guitar with those elements, in such a way that didn't make it like too hippie-ish or too hokey
or
or
songwritery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But just kind of the right sort of, kind of upbeat, kind of indie pop kind of song.
I still love that sound. I mean, that still works. I mean, I know it's probably a little dated these days production wise, but that's always worked for me. That kind of hip beat and acoustic and married with a really good melody and a vocal.
Dreamed I saw you on a park bench. Put your head on my lap. Make it soft with my backpack. Make you warm with my hands. I come inside where it's warm. Once inside, we can make a fire
When I was toying with what I was going to call this song pod, one of my ideas was, do we need a bridge? Are you familiar with this? Lately the bridge has a question mark after it these days in songwriting. Do you have an opinion? A bridge or no bridge? Like, what's your approach?
I don't think a song necessarily needs a bridge. I need a break a lot of times. Like I need a break in sort of the what's happening to make it interesting for me. But I think maybe people are so used to really simple music now that, like you hear songs with 3 or 4 chords and that's all it is, the whole song.
Yeah.
And, so they might think, why do you need a bridge?
Right. Yeah.
Why do you need something to break that up when they're so used to that? There's no break in it. For me, I think it makes a song more exciting, but I don't think it is necessary. I think it depends on the song. Yeah. Whether but providing something interesting to me is more my taste. Like I want something different in a song. I want like that tension, or release of tension. It could be, depending on the song. I need that break. I like to mix it up a little bit, but other people, I think they're used to kind of, just the same thing. I don't know. Yeah. What's your opinion on it?
I mean, my opinion is I put a bridge in almost every song, and I wonder if I should maybe not put a bridge in every song. But I'm like you. I get to a point where I'm like, no, this song it needs something different here. Like, my philosophy a lot of time when I'm writing is I want to write a song and I want to teach people how to sing it in as quickly as possible. If you're the audience member, that's kind of part of what I'm trying to do as a songwriter.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and let's just like you're saying, you just at some point, you've done the chorus a couple times and you're 2 minutes, 1:45 into the song, something, and it's not ready to be done yet. I don't want to, like you're saying, I don't want to just repeat the chorus 7 times at the end.
Right.
But I want to sing the chorus again. So what goes here? It has to be something different and new. Like I've heard the verse twice, and Now I really want to get to the heart. I want to dig down lyrically and get into the heart of what the song is really about. It's like it's almost like the code for me. If you're listening to a Wils Bach song, you want to know what the song is really about, and this is probably not a great way to code it, but usually the bridge is what I'm actually talking about.
Yes.
So
yes.
I put a bridge in almost all my songs.
Yeah.
But there are some amazing songs though that do have 2 chords. There's a Fleetwood Mac song that I can't remember the name of at the moment, but
Dreams.
Is Dreams just 2 chords? Yeah, it's just 2 chords.
F and G. It's
just back and forth. And
they
it's like
throw in an A minor, but they do have a bridge. It's during the solo.
Yeah.
And they throw in an A minor in there.
Yeah.
That's the only chord that they throw in there. You know, and they repeat, like they do 2 measures of G instead of 1, you know,
right.
like that kind of thing. Yeah. But it's a wonderful. I mean, if that's the song you're thinking of, they probably have others with just 2 chords. But
I think that sounds like the one I'm thinking of. But and it's just going back to that simplicity, and like we talked about earlier, and just it all comes for a circle to that. There's something authentic there, and it works, and it doesn't matter. There's 2 chords because it's Stevie Nicks singing a song that's captivating and emotionally. Compelling to literally everyone that hears it from, the 70s to today on a TikTok,
Right. So. Oh, I was making a commentary about how I didn't realize, like, you just wanted to know whether I write bridges or not. I was making a commentary on, like, the state of music today.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I love it. It's really just a question to see what comes out,
People like bridges or not.
I really don't know what I'm doing as an interviewer, so I'm just like, there's some interesting questions. Let's ask these and see what happens. But I think this has been a fun conversation.
Thank you. Yes, it has been. It leaves me wanting to know more about you. So.
Well, all right. Well, hell, there you go. That's half the trick right there.
Maybe I need to interview you. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll have you back and do another episode.
Or I'm interviewing you.
Yeah. What's next for you creative wise? What are you any projects you're working on now?
Yeah, I am. I feel like my whole journey is in search of the perfect song. Do you feel like that?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's hilarious. But yes.
And I am constantly trying to find it. So I am really looking. I'm really searching, and I'm really, I'm trying to mix it up, refresh. I took a songwriting class for the first time in many, many years.
Okay.
With an independent artist I love. His name is Sam Evian, Evian, like the water.
Like the water, okay.
Yeah. But that was really inspiring. And actually, last night, so a good friend of mine came into town who I haven't seen him in like 10 years, but I have so much admiration for this guy, Jeff Caldwell. He's an amazing player and guitarist and singer and songwriter, and he played last night this song that just like blew me away at the open mic revival, and I was like, you got to teach me that song. That's like so amazing. And so, and then he said, well, if you ever get stuck too, he said, yeah, I'll teach it to you. And if you ever get stuck, like, just send me stuff via voice memo, and like, and I'll do the same. We can help each other out. And I just thought that's so great. And I think so I'm kind of like getting back to that place of like wanting to sort of be open to other people's like ideas and just get inspired. That's what I'm looking for.
Nice.
Yeah, and change, because you get sick of writing the same song over and over again. I even have a song about that. So, but that sort of theme everywhere, over and over and over again. It's like, I need something new.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm also writing a song called Indie Rocker. That one I'm excited about.
That sounds.
I think you heard it. I played it at Truck Stop.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. But anyway, so I'm excited about that one. But yeah, just writing and trying to find it.
Yeah.
Well,
very cool. Well, I look forward to hearing more and more from you, and
same.
Make it out to the open mic revival whenever I can.
Yes, please.
And thank you so much for spending 75 minutes with me talking about nerdy songwriting stuff.
Oh my gosh, did I talk your ear off? I'm so sorry.
I love it. No, it's been great. It's been great. This has been a fun conversation for sure. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard. This was an easy one. So,
oh, good. Great. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much. It was fun talking to you.
Thanks for listening to Wils Bach's Song Pod. You've made it this far. Please rate, review, like, love, add, subscribe to all the things on whatever app it is that you're hearing my voice. That lets the almighty algorithm know that interesting people like you like this show and will serve it up to other cool and interesting people. Wils Bach's Song Pod is produced by Wils Bach Entertainment, LLC. Mixed, mastered, and edited by me, Tim Wils Bach. See you next time.